What is up? So today I want to finally take a look at a ban list wish list of sorts. This is not going to be a prediction video because I have really no idea what Konami's going to do with the ban list. They haven't made any announcements on how they're going to handle it, or even if we're getting one anytime soon. But basically just want to talk about what I would want to see from a ban list. So right out the gate, I think this format is majorly flawed. Like, it's really, really bad, the way that it's come to be, essentially. I prefer the TCG a lot more. I would love to see a ban list that's closer to the TCG. It doesn't have to be the exact same. I know people have suggested an idea of using like a Worlds ban list, which is like in the World Championships they use a ban list that is a combination of the TCG and OCG. So it's kind of like that. So maybe something like that, but the way that it is right now is horrible and is not going to work. So let's talk about why that is. The format is way too dice rolly compared to how it is in the TCG. Obviously there is still an advantage to going first in the TCG, but in this game you pretty much have to, because of how warped it is. There's so many cards that either pump out an extremely high amount of negates or just floodgates that prevent you from playing the game. And a lot of matches come down to whether you draw the correct hand traps and whether your opponent can stop those hand traps. So with that in mind, let's talk about the first ban. Maxx C has got to go. I know this might not be the most popular opinion, but having played in a format without the Maxx C in the TCG and now transitioning to one with Maxx C, this card is horribly designed. It's what we call format warping, which means that basically everybody plays it in their deck, and if you're playing a combo deck, or the 99.9% of decks that get hurt by it, you have to have outs in it. So basically everyone's on double Called by the Grave and triple Ash. So it takes away the creativity of deck building, first of all, because you have to have the answers to it. Every deck gets hurt by it. Even Eldritch can get hurt by Maxx C pretty badly. They special summon multiple times during your turn. I know a lot of people claim that, for some reason they claim that this card kind of balances the playing field and allows like rogue decks to compete with meta decks, but that's like demonstrably untrue. So if we look at the tier list, we can see that Tri-Zoo is well above the rest of the decks. It's doing really well. Obviously it's more on the control side. It's not really a combo deck, but this deck was already tier 1 in the TCG, and it was even tier 0, the Zodiacs, like a while ago. So this is a deck that's already strong, that's become even stronger because of Maxx C. Because they don't lose to it that hard, and they can get a lot of power off of card advantage relative to a lot of other decks, because they have like a lot more hand traps and staples in the deck. So it makes the deck that's already strong almost unbeatable, and it's like, I think, bordering on tier 0 in tournament format. I guess we'll have to see how they define tier 0 in terms of power ranking, but as you can see, it is way above everything else. And then let's look at the other decks. Drytron, Virtual World, and Adamancipator. These are all, again, tier 1 meta decks in the TCG, or at least they were at one point. And they're made, they do not get weakened by Maxx C. Like, let's just be real. Because, do you know why? They can play it too. I know, shocking. There's no rule in the game that says that only rogue decks or weaker decks are allowed to play Maxx C. And in fact, all of the meta decks are playing Maxx C. So instead of balancing the playing field, it just makes matchups even more unwinnable for rogue decks and makes them almost unplayable. Then we have Prank Kids, another combo deck, and then Eldritch. So obviously this is a control deck. However, again, this is another deck that's already strong in the TCG. So again, adding Maxx C just makes Eldritch, yeah, a little bit stronger, but it didn't really need to be any stronger. It has triple skill drain and vanities and all of that crap. So Maxx C doesn't fix anything with the format. It just makes it more dice rolly. It makes you have to play Called by the Grave, and Ash. So you get fewer slots to actually be able to put in tech cards that you want. So you get less freedom for deck building. It doesn't make rogue decks any stronger, it actually just makes them weaker. Because what's harder than playing through a Drytron board? Playing through a Drytron board backed up with Maxx C. It makes something that's already almost impossible to win and makes it literally impossible to win. So Maxx C has to go. That should be the first thing that they ban. It's a horrible format warping card that should not exist. Okay. Vanity's Emptiness. This card also should be banned. I don't know why they have it legal in Master Duel and the OCG. It's extremely unfun. It's just one card that turns off an entire mechanic, and a really important mechanic, which is special summoning. If you think that it's fair because it hurts your deck too, no it doesn't, because you play it in decks that don't need to special summon. Like, just wait till Floowandereeze come out. You know they're going to be playing this, and it's a deck that doesn't special summon at all. So it's going to be very oppressive. This card needs to go. Similarly, Imperial Order, again, turns off a third of the cards in the game. Just being able to not have your opponent use spell cards is not fair. So even if they do have like answers to these powerful boards like Forbidden Droplet or Dark Ruler no more, then you just flip Imperial Order and any chance they have of winning goes out the window. And the same goes with Eldritch. They can set like 5 trap cards. If one of them is Imperial Order, it doesn't matter if I draw into Lightning Storm or Harpy's Feather Duster, because Imperial Order just turns it off. This card should not be in the game. Block Dragon. This card is stupidly broken as well. If you saw my Adamancipator deck profiles / combos / replays, then you'll know just how broken this card is. Limiting the card doesn't do anything. They tried that in the TCG, and Adamancipators were still extremely oppressive and dominating the meta. So fundamentally, this card needs to be down. It needs to be banned, not limited. And it's only going to make the deck even stronger when they release Baron de Fleur, because it's a level 10 synchro. So they can just use Block Dragon, which is a level 8, and then any of the numerous level 2 tuners that Adamancipators plays. So Block Dragon has to go. Kaiser Coliseum. Now this one doesn't see as much play as most of the cards on this list, but again, I think it's just a really degenerate and poorly designed card. I don't know why it's at 3 in this game. It's pretty toxic. So Kaiser Coliseum should just go. Okay. Yeah, and then we have Skill Drain. So for Skill Drain, I don't necessarily think has to be banned. I think it can go to 1. That's what it was in the TCG, and it was fine being limited at 1. I think this is pretty self-explanatory why. It's, again, being able to turn off all monster effects on the field is very toxic. Then Macrocosmos, similarly here, it should go to 1. I don't know why it's at 3. It's like extremely oppressive as well, and makes most decks just can't play through it. They have to have backward removal, or they just can't play. Tenki needs to go to 1. It's at 1 in the TCG. Obviously, it's a very generic searcher, similar to Reinforcement of the Army, and that card's limited, so I think Tenki should be limited as well, especially considering when the best deck in the game plays 3 of it. And every other deck that runs Beast Warriors, which is quite a few. So it should be 1 at 1. Similarly, I think either Fractal or Revolt to 1, just because Tribrigator is such a broken archetype / just archetype. Not really an engine, it's more of an archetype. It's just very powerful. Hitting Fractal would hit the consistency of it, not let them completely pop off every single time. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, Revolt could also go to 1, because that card is stupidly broken as well. Ben-10 and Eva, I believe both of these cards should go to 1. I don't think there's any sense in banning either of them, because that would just kill the deck. So both being at 1 makes the deck have like 1 or 2 negates, but not like 4 negates, right? And it's easier to disrupt, and it can't play as well through like Nibiru and other hand traps. So limiting each for now. And I guess if the deck is still too strong, then you can ban Eva and look into that, but limiting them for now is fine. And then Call by the Grave, I think, should go to 1 as well, provided only, if and only if, Maxx C is banned. Right now, we kind of need 2 of it, but as soon as Maxx C goes, Call by should go to 1. This card is so powerful and versatile, being able to be used as a disruption during your opponent's turn as well, since it can also function as a trap card. Yeah, just being able to stop any interaction that your opponent has on your turn with well, not any, but like most hand traps is pretty powerful. Let's go to the extra deck, True King of All Calamities. This is obvious. I have no idea what they were thinking when they made this card legal in Master Duel, since it's banned in both the OCG and the TCG. Having it limited to 1 doesn't make that big of a difference, because you really only need 1 to resolve, just to win the duel on the spot, basically. Again, it turns off everything, essentially, and your opponent can't really play the game, at least not most decks, so BFT should be gone. Rongo, this card's even worse, even more toxic. Your opponent literally can't do anything if this card's on the field. This card shouldn't exist as well. This is a big mistake, printing this. Then we have Supreme King, Starving Venom. This enables FTKs. FTKs are bad and degenerate and not good for the health of the game. So yeah, this card should be banned. Union Carrier. So Union Carrier is a little interesting, but I think this card also needs to go because it is very poorly designed. So it's obviously meant to be used with Union archetypes. And if you look at cards like Dragon Buster and you read them, it's obvious that they're meant to be used within the Dragon or like the Buster Blader archetype. The Union Carrier just completely ignores those restrictions and allows for things like the Buster Lock. And also allows the cards like Eva to be equipped. It's just, yeah, it's just very poorly designed. Facilitates a lot of broken strategies. So I think it should be banned as well. And similarly, Verte Anaconda. You're going to see this card everywhere as soon as Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer releases, assuming that they do release that card in this game, because Verte allows you to just cheat out everything. And this is the reason why Dragoon is banned, because Red Eyes Fusion, the spell card that you normally use to make Dragoon with, is really bad and has a bunch of restrictions on it, but Verte just ignores them completely and just lets you turn any 2 effect monsters into a Dragoon. So again, poorly designed card. It's only going to get more broken over time as you get more fusion spells, fusion monsters. So Verte needs to go, and they can unban Dragoon if they do that. Trident. I don't feel too strongly about Trident. I think it could potentially be banned. That would be, I think, decent. I think it, like, people were a little surprised when it was banned in the TCG, but I do think it ended up working out. It like hurt Zodiac, but didn't like kill them or anything. So Trident could be banned as well. I don't feel as strongly about it. Samorg, I think Samorg should be banned. That was a really good hit in the TCG that they did, along with limiting Recital Starling. So yeah, limiting this to 1 and banning this will turn off things like the Barrier Statue, for example, that they always or sometimes bring out in the Bird Up deck, and doesn't allow them to get to such an absurd end board. So yeah, and that also prevents targeting. So Samorg should be banned as well. And Hulk. So they've been dancing around banning Halqifibrax for a long time. For those of you who've been playing for a while, you know how many tuners have been banned just because they're abused by Halqifibrax, and Konami refuses to hit the actual problem card, which is Hulk. And you see it used all over the place in strategies, and the TCG is gaining more popularity yet again. Just being able to use in a bunch of different combo decks. It's just ripe for abuse. Again, a poorly designed card that needs to go. Then one other one. yeah, forgot to add it here. Artifact Scythe. I think Artifact Scythe should also be banned. You don't really see it much on ladder right now, but I mean, that's because you have even more powerful floodgates in the game. So people don't really play Scythe right now, but once they start doing the ban list, once they get Destroyer, Phoenix, and Forcer in the game, you're going to start seeing Artifact Scythe everywhere like it is in the TCG. And people are calling for an emergency ban there for good reason, because it just completely locks your opponent out of the extra deck. And it's very, very easy to set up. And it's just a poorly designed card. So that is what I've got. To recap, ban Maxx C, ban Vanity's Emptiness, ban Imperial Order, ban Block Dragon, ban Kaiser Coliseum, limit Skill Drain, limit Macrocosmos, limit Tenki, limit Fractal, limit Ben 10, limit Eva, limit Called By, and ban Scythe. Let's put that up here. Then ban VFT, ban Rongo, ban Supreme King, ban Union Carrier, ban Verte, ban Trident, ban Simorgh, ban Hulk, limit Recital. I know these are a lot of changes and it seems kind of crazy, but honestly I do think this is the level of change that the game needs to see in order to be remotely healthy and playable. Because right now it's just extremely toxic. And I say this as someone who plays Virtual World. I play Drytron, I play Adamancipator as well. So I know how toxic these decks are. And I don't think it's acceptable. And Konami needs to do a better job. That is all I have for this BANLIST prediction. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you like this content. And feel free to share your thoughts as well on the ban list. Yeah, thank you for watching. Peace.